felt like you're working hard but just don't see any results? Maybe you're shooting photo shoots every single weekend, working your butt off to grow your photography business, but you're just not where you want to be. What if I told you growing faster, bigger, and more impactfully might actually be easier than just trying to double what you're doing? Hey guys, welcome back to Shutterbug Club and welcome back to my book club. We are going to be going over another business entrepreneurial mindset book that I just finished reading, and this one is so good. It talks all about how to achieve more by doing less, which ties in perfectly to my last episode about 5 tips to break out of a slump. So hopefully this can give you a little motivation to get back into it and grow your business. So the book we're going to be talking about today is called 10x is easier than 2x. So that's like 10 times is easier than 2 times. I'm saying the title in 2 different ways because I was explaining this book to my dad and he kept thinking I was saying tennis instead of 10x. So it's like 10 times, 10x. Okay, so basically growing 10 times is easier than growing 2 times, than doubling what you're currently doing. So it's basically just about growing really fast and impactful instead of slowly increasing your growth. So if you've ever seen somebody just randomly blow up, like businesses that blow up, or somebody's life just completely changes, that's because they had a 10x growth. And we're going to talk about how to do that. So this book is by Dan Sullivan with Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And I'm going to be breaking down the 3 game-changing takeaways and how you can start applying them right now. But first, let's talk about what even is 10x versus 2x and why is 10x easier. So like I just explained, 2x is just simply doubling what you're currently doing. Say you want to double your income for the month. So instead of taking on 4 photo shoots that month, you're going to take on 8 photo shoots that month to double your income. That would be 2x. Or maybe if you made $100,000 this year, next year you want to make $200,000. That's also 2xing what you're currently doing right now. This kind of thinking is very short-term thinking. It's what feels manageable to you. Because if somebody were to tell you to 10x your income for the year, instead of aiming for 200,000 to aim for $1 million, if you're currently making 100,000, you would think to yourself, okay, in order to get to 200,000, I was going to double my photo shoots and take on 8 a month instead of 4. So in order to 10x my business, does that mean I now need to take on 40 photo shoots a month? Which is not the case. That's how most people think when they think of 10xing their business. But the truth is, you're actually going to have to take a completely different path in order to grow exponentially than what you would be doing in order to just double what you're currently doing. And that's why you're working less, but you're making more, because in order to 10x, you're actually going to decrease the number of things that you're currently doing instead of increasing them. So instead of taking on 40 photo shoots by trying to 10x, instead, maybe you still take on 4 photo shoots a month. However, you triple the price of these 4 photo shoots. And you can do that because you are increasing the value you bring to these 4 photo shoots. So instead of trying to book 40 photo shoots a month, which sounds insane, I don't think that's possible. No, definitely not. I mean, sure, I guess there are 30 days in a month, but we don't even want to go there. So instead of taking on more, what you're actually doing is increasing the quality over the quantity. So it's really talking about putting your energy into the right things, which we're going to get into that more. I'm going to try and explain this the best that I can. But what I want you to take away is that 10x thinking is really just dreaming for a bigger future. It's thinking bigger. It's thinking unrealistic. Because in order to grow exponentially, you are going to need to change your path that you get there. Because what you did to double your income is not going to work for 10xing your income. I listen to this mindset business coach a lot. I've talked about him a little bit. His name is Jai Long. I've actually taken one of his courses, and I love his podcast, Make Your Break. And this is something that he introduced me to a long time ago. He calls it setting unrealistic goals. And this is like his motto almost. He always says, think unrealistic, be unrealistic. But I never really knew or understood how to do that for myself. I never knew, how do I think unrealistically though? That's just not possible for me because I'm too busy. There's no way I can achieve that. And so this book has really helped open my eyes to a path to actually achieving that kind of growth that I want to see. And it showed me what I'm doing wrong and how I need to change my current path in order to reach those bigger goals and get to that bigger future that I want. So if you're not seeing the kind of results you want to see, it's probably because you are just working 2 times harder, which really is just going to lead to burnout. So think about something you're currently doing or currently working towards and multiply that by 10. It feels impossible, but it's actually easier because there's a more specific path to get there. You're going to have to cut away a lot of things in order to get there, which leads you with really one clear path. Whereas in order to double what you're currently doing, there are so many different paths to get there. So it forces you to put yourself in that mindset of thinking about the people who are already successful and thinking about what they do in their day. Right? Like, what is the CEO of Apple doing in their day? Do you think they are working on their website? Do you think they're communicating back and forth with emails? No. They have hired out other people to take over those unimportant, repeatable tasks so that they can focus on what they are really good at, which is probably innovating, thinking of new ideas. I mean, I don't know, whatever they do, they're really good at it. Which brings me to my first big takeaway from the book, which is the 80-20 rule. And this basically just states that 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions. So this means stop wasting energy trying to do everything in your business and double down on what actually gets you the results. I feel like this was a really popular reel or like TikTok in the photography community a while ago, which was how photographers wear all the hats in their business, right? Like you're the marketer, you're the photographer, you're the customer service, you're the editor. Photographers wear all of the hats because we feel like we have to do everything. And it's scary to trust somebody else with your business. But you have to narrow down what it is that you're actually good at. And this is what separates you from other businesses, from other photographers. You don't have to run your business alone. One part of the book I loved is a question that came up of, what if I can't afford to hire an assistant or to outsource? And to quote the book, it said, you can't afford not to. And yes, you're probably going to make some mistakes while you're learning how to hire people and outsource. I know I've made mistakes. I've hired some virtual assistants in my business and I just gave them the wrong tasks. So instead of giving me time back, I was actually just making it more stressful for myself because I was having to learn how to tell them what to do for stuff that wasn't even important for my business instead of working on stuff I was already working on. So really it put more on my plate instead of taking it away. And then I ended up having to let my virtual assistant go because I couldn't afford her anymore because she actually wasn't giving me any time back. But that was my fault because I didn't know what kind of tasks to give her. And so I had that question reading this book. I'm like, I can't afford that. But I've learned now what I need to do in order to actually get my time back and focus on the right tasks. So you have to let go of 80% of the things that you're currently doing. And that can be scary, really scary. So an actionable step that you can do in order to figure out where it is you want to take your business, what it is you're really good at, and how you want to 10x your business, you need to first figure out what is the 20% of things you should be working on and what are the 80% of things you should outsource. And remember, this list is going to be different for everyone. right? Maybe you love the editing process of photography and you would never outsource that to anyone because that's what fills you. That's where you get your creativity, is figuring out the color grading and getting the lighting just right. However, for other people, that's just not their favorite part. I don't mind at all outsourcing my editing, at least a big portion of it. There is parts that I love to do still. However, that is not where I find my creativity. So I'm going to go over a few things in my 20% list, the things that I feel like I specialize in and I want to focus on, and a few things in my 80% list that I need to let go, outsource, systemize, pretty much just take off my plate, get rid of. So 20%, this is what I want to put my energy into, the 20% of my business that gets me results. First one I have here are photo shoots. I love being one-on-one with my client, having that connection, making them feel beautiful. And if I could just shoot all the time and not do anything else in my business, that would be amazing. That would be perfect. But specifically, senior photos. That's where I really thrive, and that's what I want to specialize in. So, funny enough, photo shoots are also in my 80% that I'm getting rid of because I don't want to take on weddings anymore. Those drain me. I've loved my brides, and yes, they're fun. I do find some creativity in them. However, I think they just don't work as well for my personality, at least right now in my life. I just find so much more joy shooting seniors, and so I'm taking away weddings because, to be honest, it probably takes me like 3 days to recover from shooting a wedding. I guess that's my introvert coming out, okay? Because I just feel exhausted. I literally get wedding hangover, okay? And I never drank anything. I just feel exhausted, and I don't like that feeling because after a senior photo shoot, I feel full of energy. I feel inspired. I feel like I helped them feel confident and beautiful, and I just really connect with them more. So, kind of going back to what I said in the beginning, instead of trying to book weddings or even like if you do mini sessions, so like 5 more mini sessions, what if you created a one-of-a-kind experience that only you can offer and charged 3 times more for it? So now that I've dropped weddings, I can put those hours and energy into crafting a better senior photo experience that honestly someone who doesn't have that extra time would not be able to do. One example of this is I will actually meet up with my seniors the day before their photo shoot, and we will hit all the local boutiques in town and they will try on clothes. It's basically like a fashion consultation, and I will pick out clothes for them. We go to like 3 different boutiques in the area and pick out a few outfits for them to borrow. I take the clothing with me. I don't have to pay anything for it. And this is just such an elevated experience for my seniors, which I have the time to take an extra few hours out of my day to do because I'm not spending those days at a wedding. And in fact, I actually did just triple my prices, which is scary for me. So another one of my 20% things that I feel like I need to focus more energy on is social media. And like I said, this is different for everyone. Me personally, I love social media. I love coming up with video ideas and just really putting fun clips together. However, I know a lot of people dread that. A lot of people are like, ugh, I have to create another social media post, or like, I haven't posted on social media in a while. And I feel like that is also a strong part of my brand because I have worked on growing my social media, and that's just the part that I love. And so I want to put more energy into it. However, I often put it off to the side because it doesn't feel as important. But it is important because that is how I find my creativity, and that is what makes me happy. That's what I love doing. So when you're coming up with your 20%, it's also important to think about what is it that you love? What is it that's going to make you happy? Now, there are parts of social media that I can outsource as well, like running Pinterest. I don't really, honestly, haven't gotten too much into Pinterest. I would probably outsource that. Or even part of the editing process. Like if I come up with the video ideas and record it, I can send it off to an editor for them to edit, and that will save me time because I'm not super great at the editing, honestly. I just love thinking of the video ideas and recording them. I hate the editing process. So if I could send that off, that's part of my 80% that I'm getting rid of so that I can really focus on that 20%. And then my last thing on my 20% rule is networking. Networking is always so important for your business. Making those connections with people, getting people to know who you are, who your business is. So I'm prioritizing podcasts, giving speeches, and just connecting with others, getting out there and being social. Okay, moving on to the 80% that I am getting rid of, taking off my plate so that I can focus on those things that I just mentioned that are really important to me. Emails. I don't want to answer my own emails, so I'm having a mixture of automating my emails and outsourcing them. That's what I'm working on right now in my business. I am training a new assistant to take those off my plate to really handle all of the administrative tasks for me. Next is scheduling. Honestly, I don't want to schedule my own calendar. I want somebody else to schedule it for me. Clearly, it will be around my goals. I will have goals that I need to achieve, and I can put in important things in my calendar, but I want somebody to go in and plan it for me, tell me I have this meeting on this day, this photo shoot on this day, and this is my goal for the week, so I need to spend this much time on it this day, which is also what I'm having my new assistant do. So I will keep you guys updated on how that's going in my business. And honestly, I love that part about this podcast because it's almost like a journal where I am documenting my business and really recording what is going to work for me and not work for me. So I'm really taking you along for the journey right now, and you're getting all the behind the scenes in how I'm growing my business this year. Okay, next is writing blogs, which I don't currently write blogs, so I'm not going to worry about that right now because that would be adding more stress to my plate instead of giving me time back. Since I'm not currently putting any time into blogs, it's something that I've always wanted to do, but I actually haven't ever. I've written a couple, but that would be in the future when I'm ready to grow more, when I actually have enough extra income where I can take on another expense to have somebody write blogs for me. So because I'm not currently doing that, I don't want to hire somebody to do that just yet because that's not going to give me any time back. That will just create stress, which is the problem I made with my past assistants. I would give them things that didn't give me time back because it wasn't something I was actually working on. So that was just an example of that. Another thing I can outsource is editing my podcast. I've mentioned that before. Or even styling photo shoots, like putting together mood boards of outfit inspo, searching on the web for where they can find outfits that match the vibe and buy them, like affordable options and higher quality options, and then also creating like a hair and makeup inspo board. Because that is stuff I do for my clients, and that's something that elevates my client experience, especially for seniors. Like I said before, just really putting so much value into that experience. But I could 100% have somebody else do the styling and put together all of that stuff for my photo shoots because I don't think there's anything special about the way that I do it, to be honest. Okay, so recap the actionable steps for takeaway number 1, which is the 80-20 rule. 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions. Actionable step number 1, make a list of what tasks are repeatable and draining your energy and time and not giving you the results you want. And number 2 is to pick just one, just start with one of those things and either simplify it, systemize it, or outsource. So set it up where it automatically happens or give it to somebody else, take it off your plate. The goal is to be more effective with less effort. The things that I'm currently outsourcing are my bookkeeping. Every month I have a bookkeeper who goes over all of my income and expenses. Behind the scenes at photo shoots, I hire a girl to come record behind the scenes for me because I can't be looking for my tripod all the time, trying to move it around. And then my assistant, which is brand new, so that one's very beginning. Takeaway number 2 is wanting, not needing. So showing up as the buyer and not the seller. You don't want to appear salesy, right? Everyone hates sales. Everyone hates salespeople who they feel like are just constantly nagging them, like, buy this product, buy this product. This reminds me of when I was in Belize. The The locals there who sell to tourists are ruthless. They make you feel so bad. They will like tell you their whole sob story, which yes, I feel bad and it gets me every time, and then I spend like $100 with them. But I hate it. They'll tell me like, there was this kid, he was so sweet, which I don't regret giving him some money, but he's like, can you buy this? I really want to buy a new bike. And that's just being very salesy. Most of their stories probably aren't that true because they do it to everyone. I mean, maybe they are true. I shouldn't say that. I don't know what they're going through. However, that's just what I think of when I think of salespeople. They need you to buy from them, okay? For them, it's basically like, please buy this so I can afford to live this month. So when you think of it that way, the buyer is the one who holds all of the power. The buyer is the one making the decision to either buy or to walk away, because the seller in this position appears very vulnerable and needy, and they don't have any of the power. So the way you can appear as a buyer when you're selling something is by not needing somebody to buy something from you. You're simply presenting them with an offer. You're simply showing them this incredible thing that you have made and that you can do for them. And if it's not right for them, that's okay. If it's not right for them, you know that you're going to find somebody else who it is right for. So you don't make them feel bad by saying no, because you don't need them to buy from you. So this is like, you're choosing your clients as much as your clients are choosing you, because you don't want just anyone. You don't want somebody who's just price searching the market, just trying to find the best deal. They don't really care about the experience, or honestly, probably even the art of the photos. They just need like one quick photo. I mean, if you're like me, you don't want that client. And when you become more specific in what you offer, that means you are not for everyone, and that's okay. In fact, that is good. That is amazing. Isn't there a quote, I think, that says, if it's for everyone, it's for no one, or something? I don't know. Or like, if nobody hates it, nobody loves it. I don't know if I'm saying those right, but I think you get the point. So being somebody who wants and somebody who doesn't need really comes down to understanding what it is you offer and being firm in your reasons behind why you offer those things. So not caving into your customers or your clients' requests or questions, because I used to just try and do everything I could to meet my client where they're at. Meaning, if, say we're communicating, they're thinking about if they want to book with me or not, and then they ask me, they'll say, well, this photographer gives out 100 photos with the same package. Why do you only give out 10 photos? And then immediately I would think something was wrong with me. And I would say, oh, well, I can give you like 50 photos, or if that works better for you, like I can increase the number. I am so guilty of that. Like, I would never stay firm in what it is that I offered and what I wanted to offer, because I would get so scared and I would think that I wasn't good enough if I didn't do maybe what somebody else was doing. However, if you are putting yourself in the position of the buyer in this situation with your potential client, that means you are confident in what it is that you offer in this amazing service that you have put so much love and care into creating. And you don't need this client. So you simply tell them, yeah, that's true, other photographers might give out more photos. However, I only give out 10 photos because each photo is hand-picked and handcrafted. I make sure every photo is perfect, and I only deliver the best photos. The best part is, though, that you can actually pick which 10 photos you want to make sure you get your favorites. If it were me as a client, I would want to work with that second option way more, because they just sound more confident. They sound like they really believe in what it is they're offering. And that is what it means to position yourself as the buyer. You don't need a client, you just want them. You're just presenting them with this offer. They can take it or leave it. Either way, it doesn't affect you, because you know others will come who do want it. And truthfully, you only want them to take it if it's the right fit for them, because you want to serve your client to the best of your ability. So remember, you don't need more clients, you don't need more money, more followers, whatever it is. You want to offer something incredible and serve people deeply because you have an incredible offer and you know that someone is going to love it. And when somebody doesn't book with you, you're not sad because you actually see this as an opportunity, not a loss, but an opportunity that this has now just opened up the door for someone else who is the right fit. You're not booking just simply because you need to fill up your calendar. You're booking because you want to pour your heart into the right people. And you know the right people are still coming. It's about showing up confident in what you have to offer and knowing that you are already enough. Because you are. So when you act like the buyer, which is someone with choice, clarity, and standards, you will attract people who are ready to work with you on a higher level, aka your high value clients. Okay, so your actionable steps, things you can do right now to implement this mindset of wanting, not needing, is number 1, raise your standards and don't chase those clients who don't see the value in what you have to offer. Number 2, get crystal clear on what it is you do and don't offer in your packages. So when somebody asks you, well, why do you do it this way when other photographers do it that way? You have an answer for them and you're not just caving into what it is they want. Because truthfully, you probably know what they want or need better than they do because there is a reason for why you do it the way you do. And then number 3, detach your worth from whether or not someone books with you. That is so important to do, but I also do want to know it is important to pay attention to your analytics and to reflect on your insights. So maybe if absolutely nobody is booking with you, there could be a problem. And it might not be in what you offer. What you offer could be amazing, but the problem could be in the way you're presenting your offer. Okay, so yes, don't get upset when somebody doesn't book with you, but at the same time, make sure you're keeping track of how well your system is working. That way you can find the problems in it. So just remember to present your offer with your whole heart, but don't be afraid to get some no's. Okay, this brings us to takeaway number 3, and this one was probably my favorite one, and it is to create goals that are above your current skill level. Your goals should take you into a new territory. If you already know how you're going to hit that goal, it's too small. Growth comes from setting goals that require you to become someone new, to learn a new set of skills. And this is why so many photographers and creatives get imposter syndrome. We're constantly reaching for things and setting these goals that we don't actually know how to hit yet. The challenge is outside your current skill level, and you don't have the capability yet simply because you've never done it before. So remember, it's okay if you don't feel confident yet, because confidence comes after courage. You have to first have the courage to do it. So let me tell you about my current goal that is way outside my current skill level that I'm trying to achieve right now because I dove headfirst into this one. I decided to learn IPS, in-person sales, which I, before a couple months ago, knew absolutely nothing about. And so if you're like me and you don't even know what this is as a photographer, it's basically selling artwork to your clients, meaning physical print copies of their photos. So like albums, wall canvases, wall art, cards, that kind of stuff. So one thing I changed in my business, along with raising my price of my packages, I now have prints built into every single package. So you actually cannot book a photo shoot with me without also receiving prints, because every package comes with prints. And I don't know if I like this yet, but I'm going all the way into it. I have to learn this new skill of how to do in-person sales. And I'll be honest, I'm terrified because I have like 5 ordering appointments coming up. So the way it works is the ordering appointment for the prints comes after the photo shoot. So I've done the photo shoot and now the ordering appointment comes next, where it says in person, but I'm doing them over Zoom. So like virtual sales. And I have no idea what I'm doing. I have this course where I'm learning how to do it. However, I have these appointments coming up and I'm just terrified because I've never done it before. And yes, I know I'm going to make mistakes 100%, but I'm jumping fully into it without the confidence, just the courage. I believe in the product. I believe in the offer. I just don't have much confidence in in-person sales yet. But I know I'm going to learn so much in this week where I have the 5 calls back to back. And I know this new skill that I'm learning is going to 10x my business. Okay, actionable steps for you to take for takeaway number 3, which was set goals that are above your current skill level. Number 1, say yes to something you don't feel 100% ready for. Maybe if you're new to photography, you've never done a wedding. I know there are some photographers who tell me they've shot like a few couples or just some single portraits, but they're afraid to take a wedding, and so they haven't yet. They've even had clients reach out to them and want to book them for weddings, but they haven't taken them because they've never done a wedding and they're scared. So if the reason you're saying no is because you feel like an imposter, you feel like you're not ready, I want you to stop that right now. I want you to say yes to something you feel like you're not ready for. Another thing I did for this was when I went to photo camp, which is a photography retreat, last October to give a speech. I did not feel ready for that. I was very anxious. However, I said yes when I was so afraid, and I have grown so much from that experience. And now I do feel ready. I've been asked to speak at other workshops and I feel so ready. And then just remember that every next level of growth requires a version of yourself that doesn't exist yet, because you have to learn those skills and they don't exist yet, and that's okay. So embrace not knowing and embrace imposter syndrome and feeling afraid and doing it anyways. Conclusion, okay, let's just wrap up everything we just covered. First, you don't need to work more to get more clients. The opposite, actually. You need to focus on what you're good at and let somebody else take care of the rest. The 10x path is not about doing more. It's about doing less of the wrong things and more of the things that move you forward. And lastly, you're not stuck. You're just thinking too small. So dream bigger, act bolder, and remember, 10x is actually easier than 2x.